بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطاهرين. قال الله في كتابه الكريم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وما أمروا إلا ليعبدوا الله مخلصين له الدين حنفاء ويقيموا الصلاة ويؤتوا الزكاة وذلك دين القيمة. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Illuminate your hearts and minds with a loud salawat ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. What is it that motivates someone to do a ritual for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What is it that motivates me as a worshipper and servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do the religious rituals that I have been obliged or mandated to, or sometimes have been recommended to? Some might come up with various different answers and say that it's not just one answer, but a couple of reasons. But what's the main reason? What's the cause or motivation that stands out? Some might say that it's because I'm afraid of hellfire. I don't want to fall in hellfire. So that's why I'll do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants me to do. Some might say, I want to go to paradise. Because I want to go to paradise, I'll do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told me to do. Some might say, it's because my parents are always on top of me and telling me to pray, so just so I can get them off of me, I'll do my prayer. Many different reasons, many different motivations. Some might say, I want to make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala happy with me. All of these potential motivations for one person getting up and doing the ritual acts for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But what is the motivation or inspiration that would cause the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam themselves to get up and do what they did for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What is it? When the Imam Ali alayhi salam would get up for prayer, why would he pray? When the Imam Ali alayhi salam would fast, why would he fast? When the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam would do something for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what was the motivation? What was the inspiration behind such a thing? Well, we can see in a hadith from the Imam Ali alayhi salam where he comes and explains very beautifully to us. This hadith can be found in Mir'atul Uqul, where the Imam Ali alayhi salam, Amirul Mu'mineen, he says, ما عبدتك طمعا في جنتك ولو خوفا من نارك. Oh Allah, I don't worship you because I have interest in your paradise. I don't worship you because I'm afraid of your fire. True, these are all possible motivations for some. These are all good. Be afraid of hellfire. Be excited towards paradise. But Imam Ali alayhi salam says that when I do my prayer for you, O Allah, ما عبدتك طمعا في جنتك ولا خوفا من نارك. I don't worship you, O Allah, with interest towards your paradise or fear from your hellfire. But ولكن وجدتك أهلا للعبادة فعبدتك. I find you worthy of worship, deserving of worship. Because you are worthy, O Allah, because you are deserving, O Allah, of my worship, of my service, then definitely I will worship you. فعبدتك. So therefore I shall worship you. In another hadith from the Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, he says, إني أكره أن أعبد الله لا غرض لي إلا ثوابه. I myself dislike worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if the only goal that I have in mind is the thawab, is the reward of it. Why, O Imam Sajjad? فأكون كالعبد الطمع المطيع إن طمع عمل وإلا لم يعمل. I would be like a thirsty servant, a thirsty worshipper, that if he had no thirst, no interest towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's reward, then I wouldn't worship to begin with. Oh Allah, I don't worship you because of your reward, because if I were to be quenched with reward, then there would be no point in me me as a person whose motivation is to worship you because of reward, there would be no more inspiration or motivation for me to keep me moving. The Imam Sajjad alayhi salam says, وَأَكْرَهُ أَنْ أَعْبُدَهُ إِلَّا لِخَوْفِ عَقَابِهِ فَأَكُونَ كَالْعَبْدِ السُّوءِ إِنْ لَمْ يَخَفْ لَمْ يَعْمَلْ. And I dislike worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if it's out of fear from His punishment. For if there would be no fear, then I wouldn't worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Imam Sajjad alayhi salam goes through 2 points up until now. I don't worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I dislike worshipping Him with my goal being only none other than His reward. Because if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not give me reward, or it wouldn't matter for Him if I prayed or not, then I wouldn't pray. And I don't like praying or worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of fear from His hellfire. Because if there was no hellfire, I wouldn't worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then it was asked from the Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, فَلِمَ تَعْبُدُهُ? O Imam, then what's your reason for worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The Imam Sajjad alayhi salam says, لِمَا هُوَ أَهْلُهُ بِأَيَادِيهِ عَلَيَّ وَإِنْعَامِهِ. Because He is deserving and worthy of my worship, because of all the times He has lent out a reaching hand, because of all the blessings that He has given to me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the original mun'im, the one who has given everything to us and everything that we have. Though it might have been indirect, not directly from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The money I have may have come from my job, for example, but this was rizq, blessing, sustenance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He gave me existence, He gave me life, He gave me being, He gave me meaning. Definitely such a Lord, such a Creator, such a God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is worthy of my worship because He is deserving and worthy. As we have come close, as we have made ends with the month of Ramadan, we can see that this month was a month where we had to go through struggles. It was one heck of a roller coaster for some. I went through struggles. I had to be patient and control my urges for hunger and thirst. I had to be careful not to lie or attribute any lies to the Prophet, peace be upon him, or Allah. I had to go through all of these regulations, all of these conditions, all of these rulings. This month is a month where it's not just to wear us down, bring burden upon us, but in fact to help us change. After this month, it's definitely befitting that after this month I come with a new start. I come refreshed and I come with hope. And it's good that in this month at least I should have learned at least one thing. One change is at least all I need so that I can show to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that in this month, though I may not have done much, but I at least try to change with one simple thing. We should learn, just like the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, that when we worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, though many other motivations and inspirations might be behind it, our main focus is that it's because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is worthy and deserving of my worship. It's because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the greatest, the most magnificent, the one who created everything in utmost perfection. He gave me everything I had. In the hardest times of my life, He lent out a reaching hand. In the worst times of my life, He gave me blessing, sustenance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who Himself, when He gave me life, that should be enough, is worthy and deserving of my worship. Therefore, as the Imam Ali alayhi salam did, as the Imam Sajjad alayhi salam did, as the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam did, it's good that I learned and I practiced throughout my daily rituals that, oh Allah, when I worship You, I don't do it because of excitement towards Your thawab, Your reward, or fear from the fires of hell, but in reality I do it because You are worthy and deserving of my worship. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all the tawfiq, success of becoming among the true Shias of the Ahlul Bayt. And may we be all alim and amil to the teachings of the Quran and the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina wa nabiyyina Muhammadin wa alihi at-tahirin.
خب امشب سخنرانی کافیه انشالله و